T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to the stream. We're actually going to talk a little bit about a new app that was introduced. I seen you guys, or you guys should see that. I've been talking about this an awful lot with some videos and some stuff, some announcements and everything. So what we're going to do today is we're going to have, we have Ed here. Ed is the designer, one of the app designers here. Should we even call it an app since it's not technically in the App Store, or what do we want to call it? I call it an app because that's kind of, yeah. It's easier just to call it an app, even though it's usable on the website and or on the computer and your phone. I guess it's just easier just to call it a. Oh yeah, that echo. Yeah, that's from Ed's end. That might make things a little bit difficult, but kind of try to ignore that a little bit of an echo. I know it's real faint. I can hear it too, but we're gonna try and let Ed tell you exactly what's going on here. Ed's here. Actually, Max is now here as well. He's getting set up, so we'll get him on the screen. He's always got a really dirty screen. You know how, see how blurry his screen is? It's always like that. Every time I go live with him or something, he's always got a blurry screen. Max, clean your camera. He's always like licking it. Yeah. He's licking his camera all the time. Yeah, there you go. So clean that camera. You're very blurry. Nobody wants to see a blur.
Oh, still
yeah, you're blurry. You're blurry. Wipe it off. Okay.
Better?
Might be a little bit better. Now you're just really bright. All right, so we've got Ed here. Ed, what's going to happen here is we're going to pull up a screen. Ed, go ahead and just tell us a little bit about your background, what you've been doing, why you've created this app, and why we're kind of all working on this together and where we're going from here.
Okay. I'm muting my audio so I can't hear anything. Is the echo gone? Okay. Yeah, so I started this app because I've been bowling for a very, very long time, and I just wanted to track my money. And I started an Excel file, and I was tracking my money, and tracking my notes, a few stats here and there. And since I'm a developer, that's what I do, I decided I'm going to build an entire app for this. And it was about a year that I was using it by myself. And then I decided
they're still saying there's
to the next level.
Yeah, they're still saying there's a bad echo, and I'm not really sure why.
I can't hear it too. Like clear as day. I have everything muted.
Yeah, everything's clear as day here. Hold on, let me check on the tubes. Let me see what it sounds like on there.
No, I mean, I can hear the echo.
Rates are just too high. Kamala Harris's plan will bring costs down. Donald Trump.
Shut up, Kamala Harris. Oh, wait. Hold on. Let me turn my mic. All right. That might have done it.
Yeah.
That might have done it, actually. I think I had my volume up on my end. Everybody let me know. Is there an echo now?
No echo?
Hello. Is there an echo with my voice?
Nope. I think we're good.
That sounds better.
Are we good?
Yeah.
So what happens is, man, this is such a bad setup. So far, no echo. Yeah, so what it is when the volume's up on the computer, I didn't even realize my speaker volume was up on my computer, because that's the only way I can hear you. That's so weird. I don't understand why that is. Anyway, okay. They say better, so that's good. So we're good there. Okay, so let's go back into this. Ed, if you want to go ahead and, you created this app, and you're going to go ahead and let everybody know how to create an account and then run everybody through this, through the app, and let everybody see it. We'll go ahead and put it up on the screen here so you can do your thing, show everybody what's going on, how to create an app or how to create an account. and then you can kind of go through some troubleshooting. I know there's been a few that you're working on that, some people had a little bit of trouble getting in, but it seems like you're taking pretty good care of those people getting back in right away. So if anybody does have trouble, make sure to let us know, and we'll get it taken care of. So go ahead, Ed, and let us know what we've got here with this app.
So you have the website, which is purple, and then the app, which is blue. When you go to easybowlingstats.com, it takes you to the website. You can create an account from here or from here, either one. But it's the same account. Like you log into the website with your account, the same account is what you would log into the app with. So if I create a new account here, enter your email address. I'll call it test01 at. I don't know who has email addresses at test.com, but they get a lot of them from me.
Speak up a little bit.
I'll get closer so that you can
Up your volume. I think that's what it is.
the volume on the microphone. Not that one.
Your computer should work.
Did that make a difference?
Not really.
Yeah, I've got everything maxed.
That's right. I would just say speak up.
All right, I'll just talk really loud. Okay, so yeah, you create your email and password for your login. Enter this ridiculous thing in here. Type in a display name. These are not really required. The AI uses it, like your rev rate, to figure out how to line you up on the lanes. So put in JR's old rev rate, and then we'll put in starting average 230. And then you can say you're male right-handed, one-handed, two-handed, left-handed, one-handed, two-handed, and then same for female. You can optionally put in your USB-C number, which will have use later on, PBA number, and then create your account. So those, you don't even have to put those in for most people. So there, it created your account. And you can either open the app and log in, or you can just log in right from the site here. And then once you're logged in, if you just even refresh the app, it tried to log me in. What is it doing? I guess you can't do that. Log in on the app first. And then if you refresh the website's good. I think it's because it was a brand new account. I'll have to fix that. But okay, so once you're in the app, actually I'll take you back to the site. And the site, there's a thing called My Site, just some text right now. And we're in the process of building this. And it's basically like a social media thing. And at the same time, I guess you could think like old MySpace, where you had your own website basically, but it's all just bowling stuff. Like you can put all your stats on there for other people to see, which bowling balls you use. You get to choose what you put on it. That's what my site is, and it's the same thing for bowling centers. Bowling centers will be able to create their own websites because most bowling centers are kind of the same thing. It's like a brochure, their hours, all that kind of stuff. We can start making really nice looking bowling sites. And on the website, you can also search all of the bowling balls. You can search the bowling centers. You can find centers near you, pro shops, Same thing for the pro shops. Um, these two things are like, this is where you'll be able to search other people's profiles and sites. And this is where you'll be able to post tournaments and look at tournament results. Which again, like, we're not going to build this until we have enough people to actually make it useful. Because I think there was a couple of sites that tried it a long time ago, and they just failed because they never got enough people using it. But if we can get the people first and then build this feature, then it's actually useful.
Can you go back
So
to the
that's
bowling alley, sir,
sure.
and just show the part where you can like go? It shows like the closest station, but also you can do a custom like that. Like that's it. No stuff. You can do a certain radius. Like custom location. Type in like where the closest near Fort Worth, Texas, or something. You know, you can if where they are. So it's pro shops, and you can the websites and the number of lanes per alley. If you're ever wondering, like how big is, or even the string pins, if they have a certified, or was the fourth one. Like if you want to narrow it down, you can go to those things. That's all available. Filters. So yep.
So that's all the website stuff. So you can see the website's kind of totally separate from the app. The app is where you actually do all your bowling statistics. So I tried to make it easy right here just to kind of get it going. Because the first time you open the app, you're like, what do I do? So you add a bowling ball. So we'll search the bowling balls. It downloads all the bowling balls the first time, and then it should be really quick after that. Because it does actually work like an app. Like, it's storing all of the data on your device. And then it backs up the data, and you can restore it to other devices. So if I go to, we'll just add this ball, add a swag ball. And there it is. And if you notice, like when I went to add ball, you can just custom add a ball. Like, you don't have to pick it from the list, but this is just way better. Like, maybe there's something that we don't have, like you have a 1970s vintage ball or something. And even the hook, like, we default the hook to what we thought the hook was with an algorithm or from Bowler X, depending on where the ball came from. And then you can change it to whatever you want, because maybe in your arsenal this is a 7, or maybe you're not going to put much surface on it. And then whatever weight you throw, you can put in the serial number, which is really nice for regional bowlers, because when you're done with your bowling session, then it's got all your serial numbers for all the balls you used. You can say if it was new or used, purchase price, so you can track your money, some dates. And then this is something that you'll notice on everywhere, like no matter if you're on a bowling center, if you're on a lane pattern, your bowling session, your game, you can add notes and it will attach it to it. And you can also take pictures and attach video. So I'll save the ball. So now we've got a bowling ball. So now I'm going to add a bowling center. We'll say test lanes. And for right now, just like put something like that, Pensacola, Florida, for the location. And then maybe it's like the bowling center hooks a lot, so you put high friction. Maybe they're really sticky approaches like I had last night, and drives you nuts. And then you can put their phone number in and the website URL, and again, photos and videos. There's a different type of notes that go with the bowling alley. So after I save this, I can go up here. You have your sessions, leagues. This is kind of like your setup up here. You can go back to the bowling alley and edit it. And you can put the notes for the bowling center. You can just put like your overall notes, like this alley is awesome. And then you can say on lanes 3 and 4, you could say lane 3 always hooks more. by 3 boards, which is really good. Like if you're doing a regional and you got a practice session, you can actually go to every pair and put all your notes and your lane notes here. And then when you actually pull up your session, then you'll be able to see those notes. So we're just going to do a league. So if you have a league, you can get to it from here. And notice these things keep going away as I add them because it's just the initial setup. So once I add it, then it's gone. And it'll give you something completely different there once you've filled everything out. So we can have a test league. And you can pick regular or sub. Pick the bowling center. And if you need to add a different center, you can just add it right from here. It'll populate it. Say 3 players on a team, and today is the start date at 6 o'clock. And this is basically for the end of the season, like how much your league payout was. So you put in $25 a week and you got $400 back at the end of the season, then you would put $400 here. And your league fees, you would edit as you go. You got your notes and videos. So now we'll add a session. So now I can pick league. And notice when I go to add session, you can do league, tournament, practice, and pot games. So you can do league. And one of the cool things about this screen is if you have multiple leagues that you bowl on and it's Friday and you want to add your session for your Friday league that's starting in 2 hours or just in 5 minutes, it will automatically select that league here because it knows it's Friday and that you're bowling on that league tonight. So if you have a bunch of leagues in here, then it'll select the right one automatically. You can pick the lane pattern. So most people that are just bowling normal leagues, just pick a normal house shot, or you can even take a picture. So you could add your own pattern in here and say like, my house is house shot. Normal volume, probably lower. Say it's 43 feet. Pick house shot, and then save the pattern, and there you go. Now you got your house's pattern. You can even take a picture and just attach the photo to it of the actual lane pattern, or grab the PDF or whatever you want and make an image out of it. And then you select your arsenal. So when you select your arsenal, let's say you got like 10 bowling balls and you only bring 4 to league, then those are the 4 that you would select right here. Once you save your arsenal, create your session, and now you add your games. So once you're in the scoring, then you have your setup, which is what lanes are you bowling on, and you have your pattern, and it's already defaulted to the house shot. So I know like sometimes, like I bowl on a sport league in the summer, we have completely different shots every week. So you would just select whatever pattern you're bowling on every week. But for the most part, like most leagues are just the same house shot every week, so it'll just keep defaulting to it and you don't really have to worry about it. I did put it so that you can do left and right lane because we actually do bowl a tournament at the end of the year for one of our local ones where we put, what is it, 8 different patterns on 8 lanes and we bowl on that, and it's kind of nuts. So this allows you to unlink it and say, I have this pattern on the right lane, this one on the left lane. And then
So one
if you
thing real
flip
quick.
Sure.
The important thing of adding house shot versus sports shot and any other pattern is because it'll actually keep track of your averages for all the different types of patterns, correct? Say that again. Sorry, I had you muted.
Oh, correct. Yeah. And it's also for your bowling ball averages too. It's broken down by pattern type, like short, medium, and long sport patterns, challenge patterns, and house shots. Another thing I was gonna say is these notes right here, the little note icons. Anytime you see this note icon, whatever it's sitting by, like this one's sitting by the lanes, this one's sitting by the pattern, that's the notes it's gonna bring up. So this one's gonna auto filter your notes by anything that is for this lane pattern at this bowling center. And you can always go in and change it and say, I just want to show all patterns. If I can find the 43-foot house shot, say none. And there's my one note that I put in there. But if I were to just go to lanes 3 and 4, so if I said we're on lanes 3 and 4, then that note shows up. So you can put all your notes in for different pairs of lanes. And of course I can go in and add notes and say on the left lanes on 3 and 4, actually the right lane hooks 6 boards more. And that note will be associated with the date that you actually did this. So you can kind of have a log of all your notes for different things. You can always change the I should say there's an autosave happening in the background for this screen right here, because this is probably the most important screen in the entire app. That's where you're going to spend most of your time, because it's the scoring. This is where you keep score. So it's auto saving this about every 15 seconds. So if I were to close it, it should be saved by now. And if I go back in, that note is still there. Like I didn't have to save it. So then there's the AI. Before we get to the scorekeeping, and the AI has right now it's just reminders. I'm going to expand this a lot later, but the reminders are basically I'm working on keeping my elbow in. Like you can go in and add a reminder, and you can tell it the AI is going to remind you for all sessions. So every time you create a session, the AI will come in and remind you of whatever reminder note you put in and say, hey, you had this reminder note that said, remember to keep your elbow in at all times. You can do it for a specific house shot, like that specific pattern. Anytime that pattern shows up, like remember on this short 34-foot pattern, you want to use these types of bowling balls. Yeah, you just put in whatever reminder note you want and save it, and then you can manage your notes here. And it asks you the first time. It's not scrolling. Okay, yeah. So now when I create a new session, it's going to add that note in here into the AI. So now we'll get to the scorekeeping. So you can click here on the ball below it, and if you have your 4 or 5 bowling balls you brought to league, or if you're on my league, you brought like 6 or 7, because you don't know what you're going to get. And then you just pick the bowling ball you're currently using. I'm going to add another ball just so that we can test a little bit better. We'll add the focus because it's awesome. Apparently didn't refresh it, but it should be in there. Oh, I didn't save it, sorry. There it is. I gotta add it to the arsenal. There we go. So I could start keeping score. Say I left a 5-pin and missed it, bought everyone a drink, then got a strike, another strike. Now the lanes are changing. I left a split. And you select the pins on the first one that you missed, and they turn red because you missed them, so they're red. On the second ball, you select the pins that you made out of the pins that are left. So I made the 6-10 and the 7, left the 4-pin. I was mad because I almost made it. And then I get to the 5th frame, and I leave a washout. And it wrapped around 10-pin, and I missed it again. And then I left a baby split and made it. You can just click spare. And then I threw a bunch of strikes, left a 10-pin, and struck on the fill ball. So as I was keeping score, like maybe I forgot, like, oh, I changed balls in the 5th frame. Like, what was I doing? Like, I used the focus for the rest of the game. Select the focus, but now you're like, well, it didn't fill out all of them. Because you can select whatever ball you want in any frame. Or you can go right to that frame, select the ball, say all balls after, and click it, and there, it just filled them all out for you. And you can also do all balls before. And once you have some data in here, this is kind of cool. You'll see this spare percentages here. You click on it and it opens up and says, here's the pro stats on this particular washout. It has a little information here. Like, I think if I go to the 5-pin, it's actually kind of a funny one. Yeah. Yeah, so it shows you the pro stats, and they actually do miss 5 pins. So your odds of getting a drink are 3%, like if you put your hand up. And it has your stats. So on house shots, I'm 0 for 1, 0%. On challenge shots, I haven't shot it. Sport shots, I haven't shot at it yet. So it gives you all your spare stats here and compares it to the pros. You can log a strike at any time, and this is used for the AI ball rep and for your own personal information. Like if you just want to analyze it yourself, you can say, I was standing on board 16, I threw to 15 at the arrows, at 16.7 on the monitor with my strongest release, and then you log it, and there it is. And you can just keep doing that, and it attaches it to all, like it knows like that you were using this bowling ball in this on this pattern on this league, and you shot this score on these lanes at this bowling center. So the AI actually uses that to help line you up along with your rev rate and all of your statistics and your bowling balls and your bowling ball averages. It analyzes everything and says, this is where you need to stand and this is where you need to throw it at this speed. So we can test that and go here and say, I tried to simplify this as the best that I could to make it as easy as possible to use. First, you could actually type into it, and I was like, that's too complicated. People don't want to really type too much on their phone. So you just pick, I went high and I missed the pocket. And it says, where did you hit at the arrows? And you only need to give it a range. It was in between 10 and 15. And how fast did you throw it? Between 14 and 15. And I was using my normal release. And it says move 7 boards to the left and your target if the arrow is 2 boards to the left. And then you tell it either worked or it didn't. If it didn't, it starts over and you can do it again. So if you actually hit your target and did what it said and it didn't strike, then just tell it it didn't work. And now it knows that that didn't work in that situation. So the next time that you run it, it'll be smarter about it. And over time, the more data that you give it and the more times you use it, it'll become more and more accurate, like it has to. And you could say it worked, and if it worked, now you can actually select all this information again and say this is exactly where I was standing. And it logs it, and it always logs notes in there for you, which I have to fix. It's supposed to actually log the note in your notes, and I just changed this to left and right lane, so I have to go back and fix that. You can also log the strike right from here. And eventually I'm going to attach it to the actual frame as well. So, you know, like maybe in the beginning part of the game, you got a strike, and then it knows that you moved two boards to the left with your feet and got another strike, or that you changed balls, or whatever it was. And it's just more information for the AI if I can give it the frame. It always has your max score up here. There's multiple ways to navigate the scoring. You can click right on the frame if you want to. You can click back and forward. You can click on ball 1, ball 2 right here, or you can just do this. You can click spare and strike. I left off the whole gutter ball feature too, because I figure it's kind of rare, and if you get it, it kind of makes you pay for it because you got to go in here and click every single one of these. You're like, I got a gutter ball. There is an erase feature coming it was there. I don't know where it went. Supposed to be able to erase frames. Anyways, next, when you click next, it's got the plus right here. That's going to add another game because you only have one game in there. So it saves your other game, adds a new game. I close out of here. You can see you've got game 1, game 2. If I have a game halfway filled out, like I just go in here and do this, go back into it, it's halfway filled out, it's going to say 0 until you're done with that game. So you can see status, it's in frame 7. It's not done yet. This one's complete. You can go to, this isn't going to work because, which account am I at? Oh, the session analysis, okay. Well, this will give you all your stats, so you can see how many games you bowled, your first ball, all your stats, 9 counts and strikes, because I know, like, I've been on League before and said I had all 9s and strikes the entire night. So this will tell you that you actually did have all 9s and strikes for the entire night. Your estimated carry percentage, which is really based off of like if you left like a 4-pin or a 10-pin, it's using a percentage to say most of the time that's probably in the pocket and how many times you left those. And it gets it as close as it can because you can't really know unless you tell it every little bit of information about every shot. Same thing with the pocket percentage. So it's coming up with that pocket percentage and then seeing how many times did you actually carry versus leaving anything. And it gives you a carry percentage and a pocket percentage. It gives you all your spare information and makeables, splits and washouts. And this is basically how clean the game was. It was 81% clean. The plus minus is a feature that I added, which I think is kind of nice for tournaments and stuff. It basically says if you had 20 spares that you shot at and 15 of them were makeable spares, like single pins and just non-splits and washouts, and you made 14, well, now you're -1 because you missed a makeable. But if you make a split or a washout, you get +1. It brings you back to even. And then you've got all your games listed here, and you can click on the frames and see everything that happened in that frame. It shows you your bowling balls that you used and what your average was for each ball. And I know me and Max have been going over this, trying to figure out if we can get it a little bit closer, because it's going to be different no matter who writes this. You can't know what the actual average is for the ball. You can just get it close. Because, for instance, if you have a double, let's say you use a different ball, like the left lane I'm using a Widow, and on the right lane I'm using like the Focus, and I get a double in there. Which ball actually gets credit for the bonus pins? I don't know. So I have to actually tell it, like, this is the rule. This is who gets the bonus pins. And
We got a question in the chat. That's exactly what I was trying to. Is the autofill score? That's one of the things we're putting in there. So that's coming. Basically, enter in your score. Like, let's say I 19. It'll frames with an educated guess, like your history of how you bowl, like turkey in there, and like the rest is 9 spare strike, whatever. And then you can tweak it from there. And even if it's not correct, like the exact, I'll at least add up to the correct you had. So we do.
Yeah, that's Max is actually working on that right now. It's looking pretty good so far. And then you can run your session analysis. This is not going to come up good because I have one game in there and there's nothing to compare it against. But what it does is it gives you positive feedback, criticism, what to work on, and based on what to work on, it gives you video tips. So I could say, and these video tips are very specific to your session. Um, so it's basically saying I need to learn how to play more inside because the lane's dried out and I bowl bat. And then there's a video of JR showing you how to do that. And eventually we'll have more videos from more people. We'll have lots of a vast library of learning videos. And I know there's plenty. Did I cut out right there? So yeah, we'll have videos for everybody. That's coming soon. That's another thing we're working on is the ball reviews. So each ball will have ball reviews attached to it. And we're gonna really work on the video features a lot. Um, for each session type, there's a checklist. So it's just a checklist you can go through, and that's got videos as well. It's got help. It's got different videos like building an arsenal, choosing the right ball, just tons of stuff to learn and make sure you don't forget. So we're in a league session. These are things that you need to pay attention to during league, like practice routine, pressure situations, spare shooting. Don't forget to bring a towel. Um, and then it's different for practice. In the practice one, so if I create a practice session here, so I'll go to session, I'll add a new one, do a practice session. You get the practice checklist, and it's just got a ton of stuff that you can work on in here with videos. So tempo and rhythm, 3-step drill, timing, 2-step drill. It's got tons of stuff in there. And then you can just check them off and save it. So if you want to keep track of like the things that you're working on, like in this session, I worked on these 2 things, and you can save it. We'll have reporting on that later, which will be very useful. So you can keep track of your practice sessions. When you're done with the session, if you mark it complete, then it kind of just simplifies things for you. So you can say like maybe you're in year 3 of a league and you're going to add a new session, and that league just keeps showing up in here 3 times. Once you mark it complete, it won't show up in here anymore. And same thing for tournaments. The statistics, you go to spare stats. I'm going to log out and go into my account because it's got much more data. I need to restore. I'm still logged in as the other guy. There we go. What is going on? I wonder if there's something going on with our backup server. Because this was just working like 5 minutes ago. Latest version. Okay, literally just did this. Anyways, it gives you all the stats of every spare that you've ever shot, and you can filter them. Say 2-pin and 4-pin, any combinations of those, which bowling center, different session types. You can do a date range. It divides it by house shot, challenge shot, sport shot, your total, and it compares it to the pros for each one and gives you totals. So it divides it by single pins, makeables. A makeable is basically non-single pin that's not a split or a washout. You got your splits and your washouts, and then your grand totals. You've got leagues. Anytime you see this little stats icon, that'll bring up stats. So this will show you this league. If I had another league in here, there's a pull down up here and you can compare the two leagues. Compare any two leagues together, all the statistics, all the way down. These are premium features. So you can see when you go to here, like you get your overall stats for free. So this is what you get with the free account. You get all these different stats. You get a couple charts. Like this is all your 3-game series over time and your single game breakdown totals over time, kind of grouped. And then you can do filters. So it gives you actually quite a bit of stats for free. It even gives you some bowling ball averages. But if you want like extremely detailed stats, like the spares, your bowling ball stats, like you can look at all the different stats for each bowling ball side by side, like all of them in the grid and sort them and search. And then you can compare bowling balls and see like ridiculous amounts of stats on that bowling ball. And you can filter it pretty much any way you want to. Actually, there's not a whole lot that you really need to filter this one for. Date range and session type. It's all that really makes sense. But anywhere that you see the little stats icon, it gives you the same thing. So you can do the same thing for leagues. You can do the same thing for tournaments, all the bowling alleys, even lane patterns. So I can go into a lane pattern and it will give you all the stats that you've had on that lane pattern. You do the same thing at different bowling centers. It's just tons and tons of stats. And we're just going to keep adding more stats until you can look up pretty much anything on your statistics. But what the cool thing about this app is the AI takes all these stats and actually gives them a purpose. It's not just cool, I got all these nice stats and everything. It's I have stats that actually do something. Like it can help me get better at bowling if I use these stats correctly. And that's what we're trying to do with the app is make it so that it can analyze all that data for you.
And did you see the
another? What is this? Is there a way to change your spare ball? No.
I think we can make that in there so like every second shot, if you have a spare ball like a T6, you could just put that in there automatically.
Why would we track the spare ball though? Like, what's the
I don't know. That's what he's asking.
ADHD
I mean,
whiskey? What's the purpose of tracking the spare ball? Like, what do we do with that information? You can put your
Forex.
spare ball in and use it as a strike ball. I had to do that last week. Like when you build arsenals, like I can create an arsenal and say this is my 2-ball league arsenal. Save it. You can create different arsenals for anything. You can create a wish list. So as you're searching through bowling balls and you're like, I want this ball and this ball and this ball, and you can just keep adding them to your wish list. I did download it again because I switched accounts. So I can add that, even though I already have it. Maybe we'll change it. We'll get the super sharp mantra. And now that's in my wish list. And when I create an arsenal, I can create like a projected arsenal. And I could say, well, what if I got rid of this ball and this was my new arsenal? Which is kind of cool if you have lots of bowling balls. And you're like, well, I'm going to replace these 3 and this is what my arsenal's going to look like in the future. Okay, I see ADH whiskey. I'll have to think about that one, and we'll see what we can do there. He's saying that track your spare ball so that you can actually figure out if you're making more spares by hooking it or throwing it straighter. Yeah, we'll have to think about something for that, because that might be an interesting thing to put in there. I just we have to be very careful about the things that we do put in here. So we have to really think about it and make sure it's worth it to put it in there.
Yeah, I think basically you can pick like
The
a
more
default spare
complicated
ball.
it gets for everybody. As simple as
Like let's say you have a
possible.
T-Rex or a sniper, you just click that, and then every second ball would be that spare ball. Or if you keep your strike ball, it stays with it. So that's a good question.
We'll definitely, yeah, we'll definitely think about that. Just have to make it simple. Because you can't really make all this stuff super simple because it's complicated stuff. But we try to make it as easy as possible. We'll even probably have a couple more views in here for the arsenals. Right now, it automatically divides it by the cover and core type. So you can kind of see what you're missing if you want to fill out an arsenal that way. I want to have a couple other views in here as well so that you can kind of like when Darren Tang does that tier list thing and he drags and drops the bowling balls in there. I want to do something like that, and then you can divide it however you want. You can say this is my favorite ball versus my barely used ball. Um, but yeah, you can mix and match like your wish list items, your wish list balls with the balls that you own to create your perfect arsenal. And then once you have yeah, like once you actually fill out that arsenal, you can use it in the sessions. So if I create a new session here and I go to edit arsenal, it's got this use default arsenal now, and I can just pick one of them. Like, there you go. It can't actually. Yeah, that is my arsenal. Is that one bowling ball? It said there was two in there, but one of them was a wish list ball, so it obviously can't select it out of your active bowling balls. That's why it only selected one. Anytime you see, that was another thing. Let me go back in there. Anytime you see this little guy, it'll give you help on wherever there's help available on that screen. So I could probably go into a league, and there he is, and he'll just kind of guide you through. Trying to think if there's anything else. You can always search your notes from anywhere. If you're on Android, this is one of the big things here, is Android versus Apple. If you're on Android, you get this install button, and you click it, and it'll actually install it as an app. It'll show up on your home screen. You can click it. It opens as an app. It runs as an app. It still works the same way in the web browser. It's just technically not an app when it's in the web browser. It's still downloading all your data locally. It's your data. It backs it up to our separate backup server. You can use it on any device. The past week I've been working on trying to get it to work on as many devices as possible. For instance, like a 2017 iPhone. It has all sorts of issues on 2017 iPhone, so I went in there and made it work on a 2017 iPhone. The iPhones, Apple basically has this thing. If you want to make an app and you want to put it on the iPhone store, you're going to pay them 30%. Everything you make. 30%, which is absolutely insane. So, when I originally designed this, I said, well, I'll just make it as a web app and let them install it as with a web app installer. So we'll get around this whole Play Store thing and iTunes Store thing, because even the Play Store charges you quite a bit. It turns out it works fine for Android, and how this install works is blocked by Apple. They won't even let you do it because they want it on their store. And they want that 30%. And they do everything in their power to get that 30% and put roadblocks in the way of the developers to do anything to get around it. So my only way around it was using Chrome. Um, Even Safari, like the app will work in Safari. Like I can get rid of the message that blocks you from getting in if you're in Safari and it'll work. But Apple and Safari will delete your data every 7 days of non-use. So if you don't use the app for 7 days and you come back, all your data's gone, which is kind of ridiculous. That's why you can't use Safari. It has nothing to do with anything else. And I could unlock it and you could use it at your own risk, but I'd rather not. That's why if you just install Chrome, it'll work. There's certain devices that I'm still having some issues with, and I'm working through it. And I kind of knew this was going to happen when we launched it because you can't really test for every scenario. So we're trying to get things working for everybody as soon as possible and getting all these little kinks worked out. Um, but it's all expected. It's a new app launch. And over the next couple of weeks, we should have everything like pretty solid. And then we'll start adding more features.
There is also the ability to put in just to get the premium membership. It's pretty basic. You just have to put in a card and stuff. But same as with the app, post your own ads on the site when you go to the website, not the app.
All right, so I think that's a pretty good rundown. I think that works out pretty good. Shows people what's going on, making sure everybody knows what they're doing. So, any last minute questions? I mean, I know people were kind of just watching, not really asking a whole lot of questions, which is cool. But I think Ed pretty much covered the majority of what needed to be covered here, so you know what you're doing. I think the idea behind this is to create as much data behind your bowling as possible, so that way you can then use the AI, and the AI can get smarter, and it'll help you become a better bowler overall. So I think you're kind of fooling yourself to not get the premium outside of the app right now, because then you can start getting AI introduced to you immediately and get it learning from you right away. Because if you're not a premium member, you're not going to be able to use the AI portion of this. Now, if you just want to keep your stats just for yourself, keep stat track of your games, your scores, and stuff like that, your average, that's fine. Then you don't need the premium version. But if you want to actually become a better bowler and learn all these different things and be able to get all the new patches that he puts out with all the additions, like the building your arsenal thing, I think that's going to be a big one coming up, where it will actually take and make recommendations based on the bowling balls that you have, and it will make a recommendation like, hey, here's a hole you have. This is what I see in your arsenal, and this is what you need. So it'll take you exactly where to go to get that ball. It'll give you recommendations of layout eventually. Like, there's a lot of different things that are going to be added to this in the future. So starting your journey with this AI portion right now is going to be really, really important, because the more that you teach the AI and it learns from you, the better it's going to be down the road at making you make better moves, make better decisions, everything else. What we got here? We got Arsenal feature looks great. What bowling ball brands are represented? Asking because my league Arsenal is not any of the major brands, and we had an answer.
We have pretty much every brand.
Yeah,
even
every brand
Visionary,
is-
Warfield, and all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, so everything is pretty much in there, as far as bowling balls. If there's not a ball that's in there, again, you can add your own bowling ball. There's that feature in there to just add your ball. Whatever you need to add in there, go ahead and do that in the info. And then eventually, I imagine, Ed can correct me if I'm wrong here, but in the future, when you do create an arsenal and whatnot, and you use AI, even if that ball is a part of your arsenal, it's just going to use the data based on what you put in it to create it. I would assume that's just how we're going to do it. That would make the most sense. But if nobody has any other questions, we'll roll out of here. Ed, you got anything else?
Yeah, just look forward to more features coming. We have 50 items right now in our to-do list of just new features that we've thought of. And the trick really is, how do we get all these things in there and still make it kind of simple to use? It's a very difficult task to, the more stuff you add in there, it just gets harder to use. So we're gonna do our best to try and jam as much stuff as we can in there and still make it easy. There's gonna be a lot of cool stuff coming.
Yeah, if you have any
This is
problems
just the
or
start.
sorry,
Go ahead.
if you have or feature requests, you can go on our Discord channel and let us know. If there's any bugs, just let us know in the Discord channel. But yeah, this is definitely not the final product. We have a lot lurking out there, like even library. We have all the Kegel patterns out there to choose from. Maybe even at one point you can select all the leagues and associate them with the alley. You can always autofill for you. You can get the nearest alleys by location, put them in, all that stuff. There's so much coming. So stay tuned. Definitely try to get that premium membership. It's well worth it.
What? How do people join the Discord there? Is that all part of the app? Does it show you right on there?
Right there.
You can just get to it from there. I think it used to be in here. Did we? Yeah, I just go to the homepage. At the very bottom, scroll down to contact us and just click the Discord. And there's the Discord channel. We got announcements, roadmap, bowling talk, feature requests, development only, high scores, and bug reporting. And yeah, like Devin here had a weird issue with his iPhone, so I'm trying to solve it for him. So we try to stay on top of the stuff as best we can, and if you got a problem, we'll fix it right away.
Very cool. All right. I think that's pretty neat. Actually, we need to get 10-pin doctors added to that Discord as well. We'll just throw it all in one big group there. I think that'd be pretty cool, because we've got our membership over at 10pindoctors.com. And I think eventually we'll work out a deal where if you're a member at 10-pin doctors, then if you want the premium version, then we'll figure something out there, and vice versa. If you're a member on the app and you want to become a member at 10-pin doc, or maybe we'll merge it all somehow. I have no idea. There's all kinds of stuff coming in the future. We'll figure it out eventually. But if you haven't downloaded the app, if you haven't already created an account, make sure to head over to easybowlingstats.com. Everything's right here on the bottom of the screen, and get your account started today. But if we don't have any other questions or anything else, I think we're going to roll on out of here. All good? All right, guys. Appreciate you joining. And we will see you next time. All right.